Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inbox Academy channel. Audrey here. Today we have a special guest. Miss Dani Paige is with us, and she is the creator of Sales Page Prep School, also lead the launch. She is a launch strategist and copy mentor. So she's going to be talking a bunch about the launch space today and how that works with email, how email works with launching, I should say. And I'm just so excited to have you here and share your expertise with us. So to start us off, though, I would love to hear kind of in your words, how do you describe what you do?
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me, Audrey. I'm super pumped, and it's so good to see you. So I'm Dani. I'm a launch strategist, a copy mentor. So I help sales copywriters build sustainable businesses in today's like very AI driven market. I've been in the launch space now for like 8 or 9 years, which seems crazy. Excuse me. Been
It sneaks
writing.
up on you.
I know. I like don't even want to say the word almost a decade because that makes me feel ancient, but I guess it kind of almost is. But yeah, so I've been writing high converting sales pages and launch campaigns for a while now for course creators. But what I'm really passionate about right now is teaching copywriters like how to stay really irreplaceable today. Um, because as you know, and I'm sure we're going to get into all of this, it is like a wild world online right now. So yeah, I'm enjoying helping sales copywriters create very like life first businesses, even in today's market.
Yes, I love that so much. And that's like perfect for our community as well, because that's exactly what we're all about here. And can you describe for somebody, just in case there's anybody watching who doesn't know what like the launch space is, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so I mean, launches are just a very organized way to like a sales process, right? To sell your offer. So instead of having your offer on your website 24/7, it's a very organized way of selling it in a very specific time frame. So that allows you to bring in a little bit more authentic urgency, maybe some unique bonuses that only happen in that condensed timeline. Um, yeah, there's, I guess, a very short version. That's to me what a launch is.
Yeah. And do you primarily work with like course creators, online creators in general, or do you also kind of blur over into the product space?
I have my own products for sure. So I have like kind of two, I guess, arms to my business. I definitely like my one-on-one clients are course creators. And then I also help service providers, copywriters with my one-to-many programs. So I kind of have a unique view of seeing what's happening in the market with my launch clients, but then what's happening with the member, like my copywriter members inside my program. So I see like a ton of different launches all over. So it's kind of a unique perspective, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. And have you ever worked with physical products at all, or pretty much
I
online products?
haven't totally just like info products,
Yeah.
like selling your knowledge, I guess, online rather than physical products. I haven't dabbled into that world yet. I feel like it's a whole different space for me, anyways.
Yeah, yeah, it is kind of, and it's interesting to see how people like navigate those niches where you can really
Mhm.
become an expert in one thing, and yet there's so much to do in that niche still.
Totally. Like I have said, I'm
Goodness.
almost a decade. I'm still learning. Like I am still a student of all of this. Um, Especially with everything changing. Like sometimes we need to relearn and totally shift all over again. So
Yeah,
love
and
to learn.
that leads like perfectly into what I was going to ask you next. I feel like the launch space, especially of online products, it moves so fast and things are constantly changing. So I would love to hear from you, like, where do you feel like things are going or like, or what's working right now and like what's that shift that's happening currently?
You bet. Yeah, you bet. The landscape absolutely is changing. Like it's different than 2 years ago, right? I feel like templates are kind of on the out. Like fake urgency is on the out, which was never like truly in or cool, obviously, but people did it for sure.
Yeah.
We're just kind of numb to like all of the same bonuses and the same webinar scripts. So yeah, if you're not bringing like something fresh, whether it's your story or your offer or like your delivery, I think people are really tuning out right now, right? So
Yeah.
to think about what's working, I would say first and foremost, like attention is the new currency, I'm saying.
Mhm.
It's like conversions are still happening, absolutely. Like if you have a good offer um, and good copy, like you need a good offer and a good copy still today, but to get people to actually notice you, I find is the hard part right now. So bringing in like bold, new, like creative angles or standing out visually, standing out with your messaging, your thought leadership, bringing all of that forward. Maybe it's a new like plot twist mid launch, or I would say altogether just dropping like the very polished marketer mask. Because the market is bored. Like we've seen it all. So it's really like, how are you keeping attention today? So I'll kind of preface it with that. But to answer your question more about what's really working, I think solving real problems and also showing real results. Those are like the big things that I think is working or what we need to do more of. People are, I would say, like very over the aspirational fluff, like saying, that we need to see those results of like why people should invest in you. So, for example, for me, like if I'm talking to copywriters as I do, I'm not just saying now like how to make more money as a copywriter. I'm saying things like, you're a copywriter and AI just ate your lunch. Now what? Like real
Yes.
problems that are actually happening right now. And then to go with that, they need to see the ROI clearly because people are super skeptical as well. They don't want to hear things like, oh, you're going to feel more confident if you join this program. They want specific ROI. So, again, for me, I'm saying things like, you'll be able to charge a $4,000 sales page instead of a $400 blog post. Here's the proof. Here are the proposals that I've sent to do it. Here are like the signed contracts to prove it, sort of thing. So, like, very specific, believable ROI is what I'm seeing is actually working today, right now.
Yeah, that reminds me of like one of my favorite quotes from a mentor that I remember is that like when it comes to social proof, the uglier the better. And the
There you
reason you
go.
would say that is that like taking those ugly screenshots are actually like way more believable than your, pretty Canva quote with a picture that like it looks very professional, but it's just not as believable. People think, well, ChatGPT makes up testimonials left and right. And if you're not careful, we'll try to just like cram them into your copy. So yeah, like you really want to show that those results are real and that yeah, and kind of bringing down that barrier and showing more realness in general, I feel like is just really where the world's going. One thing that I really love that you do, and I was reminded of it when you were talking about bringing that kind of realness to your marketing and stuff, is you often when you send emails like take like a selfie that's just clearly kind of
Yes.
actually you that day at your desk, like
Yep.
wearing different clothes, not having your hair done, and things like that.
Yep.
That it does bring like just that really really personal feel to the email. And I love
It
that.
does. I I got that actually from Justin Goff, I believe it was from. Just adding like a visual, like a, yeah, exactly that, a picture of me at the bottom of the email. It helps them remember me. They see me when I read the email. And sometimes I even like write down like the point of the email on just a pad of paper like this. And then I hold it up
Mhm.
in like marker, you can obviously see something and hold it up. And yeah, I think it helps a ton with the engagement in my photo or in my emails, getting people to remember me and whatnot. So yeah, just I guess a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like it just really adds that layer of authenticity that like you really
Right.
wrote this email for this purpose and all of that.
Exactly.
So diving into email, because that's what we love to talk about here.
You bet.
How do you see email kind of fitting into the launch like ecosystem, if you will? What role does it really play?
Yes, so I believe email is like the backbone of every successful launch. Um, it always has been. I believe it always will be. It's really that direct line. It's still that one channel that you actually own. It's still the most reliable. Um, it's still where your warmest audience is. Um, so yeah, I would say it's absolutely the MVP for launches. Um, But the way you use email, I think, has to evolve to stay
Mhm.
current today. Using it, with intention, really focusing on like clicks and engagement and thought leadership piece, not just like open rates or vanity numbers with all
Mhm.
the iOS changes as well. Open rates are kind of out to crap. So yeah, I think you need to be really intentional about email, but it's absolutely what drives your launches forward. Um, yeah, I will stand by that 100%.
Yeah. So do you have any tips for our listeners on, what would your, top priorities be when it comes to email?
For sure. So the piece about the iOS, I would say, knowing that we're focusing more on like engagement and clicks, I've started bringing links to the top of my emails rather than
Mhm.
burying it into it. So that's kind of like one little like side tidbit or like easy fix tip. Um, but
Yeah, we
thinking
like
more
to
about like,
say having the CTA above the fold when
yes,
possible is always going to
exactly,
be, yeah,
exactly. Just
before
like
they
I
have
say
to
that on a
scroll.
exactly like I say that on a sales page, having the you can have the link or the whatever you're really trying to say about the fold. So yeah, that is absolutely true. Um, but then thinking about like as our conversation is more about launch emails, because I think there's just so much more to it. So I think my big tip here and like a conversation I'd love to have is about understanding that like, our emails are really taking people on a complete journey during a launch, not just sending like random sales emails. So really encouraging people to like absolutely think about the strategy behind our emails and how it fits into the bigger picture, I guess. Um, a big shift that I'm seeing too is in during launches, I feel like it was always like thinking about sales. I feel like it was a lot of the time, like 40 to 50% of sales would happen on the first day, 40 to 50% of sales would kind of happen on the last day.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's really lopsided lately, and that a lot is shifting towards the end, and like the big rush of sales and the big chunk of sales is really happening in that 48 hours. That's what I've been seeing for myself and my clients and my people as well, which tells us something important that like people need to hear and go through that full journey before they're ready to buy.
Mhm.
Um, so with that, like really starting weeks before your launch with anticipation or pre-launch emails, sharing those stories, those behind the scenes content, addressing objections. That like pre-launch runway really is crucial because as I mentioned before, like our attention is really fragmented right now. And then,
Yeah.
like, once cart opens, understanding that every single email serves a purpose in that journey to keep them engaged, to keep them paying attention, and then to keep them or to get them to purchase if they're the right person, of course, on that final day. Because as we know, like, yeah, a lot of the sales are coming in more so at the end now. So I encourage everyone listening, like, stay the course. This happened to me. Like, we always kind of had the lull, but it was like super quiet during my launches. And then I had like a rush sales come in at the end. Um, so yeah, just
Yeah.
kind of understanding that there's more to it than just these like middle individual sales blasts or something, right? When I
Yeah.
think about the launch in general, like Mondays, and of course every day is however your launch is, it might look different, but let's just say like Monday might be the excitement or the like early bird bonus email. Tuesday might be the like tackling their biggest fear. Wednesday, you might share a case study. Thursday might be addressing like, is this offer worth it or whatever that is. The point being, like very specific marketing, like having these specific marketing angles, I guess, where each day like intentionally moves them closer to a decision, right? So yeah, that kind of key tip or like overall is just seeing your launch emails, like knowing that they're kind of connected to a bigger story and the bigger picture. When you understand that most people need to have all of those touch points before they're ready to buy. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's at when I'm thinking about like launch emails, and the like how
Yeah.
emails kind of fit into the bigger scope right now.
Yeah, I feel like that goes so much into like a lot of what I've been thinking about in recent months, and actually just had a conversation with Kristen McIntyre on this channel last week, and she was, talking about the age of AI and all of that. And I feel like trust is harder to build than ever before, right? There's AI spitting out anything that you want it to. It can create videos. And we're also in this age of automation too, right? There's
Mhm.
more automation than ever before. And so creating like that real authenticity and that trust factor is harder than it has ever been. And I do feel like that's where that runway is so important. Really like having all of those touch points, even if it feels like people aren't buying yet. Yeah, they need that. And like something we have found in our launches is that, if we can get them to actually engage in conversation with us, to send us an email with a question or something, they almost always buy. And
Mhm.
part of that is it's the most interested prospects that are sending those emails, but it's also that, and we don't pressure them when we're answering their questions or anything. We're
Right.
just engaging in a very real way, and they can tell, who we are and how we engage and things like that. And I think that that just skyrockets that trust. And so whenever you can get that kind of very real touch point, it's gonna help.
Totally
Yeah.
true. When you can respond to people or get replies from your emails, make sure you're responding back to them. Because
Yes.
yeah, they go a really long way.
Yeah, and I've even seen people, and we've done this as well, like send a Loom video back,
Hmm.
sending like, and I know there's programs for that, video ask and stuff like that, but sometimes again, it's almost like the less automated it
Like
feels, the
perfect.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more imperfect things feel even
Yeah.
more real. Yeah.
I agree. I love Loom for that reason. I was reading an email once and I felt like it needed a video response because there was something like that I just needed to explain rather than type. And I was out for a walk and I like just hit record and I did it like super off the cusp and she loved it. Like it just landed so well. I'm
Yes.
like, yeah, like I'm a real person here. I'm just trying to explain it. It doesn't need to be perfect. So yeah, that those
Yes.
kind of things
Yeah.
definitely go a long way.
Yeah, I ended up having like a voice chat over Instagram with one of our potential
That's
students who
awesome.
became a student
Right.
later and during the last launch, and it was great. It was fantastic. And then I felt like I kind of knew her coming in too, which is always
Right.
really fun.
No, that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so this kind of, I mean, we're already kind of covering this, but the last thing I really wanted to talk about was kind of like how does all of this affect like freelancers in the launch space? I guess we've been kind of talking about it from the perspective of leading a launch, but how do you see that affecting the freelancers and how they go about being a service provider to the launch space?
Yeah, so I think I would continue with like the whole AI conversation, which we're all talking about, but like, yeah, AI is shaking everything up, and I think freelancers are feeling it hard.
Hmm.
So my advice with that is like, yeah, I think we should all learn AI to stay relevant, but also double down on what makes you human. So kind of, exactly what we're saying, building those relationships, making real connections with your people, hitting reply to your emails, actually caring about results, learning like the strategy behind things, starting to use your brain instead of just always having to ask AI. Like I think these elements are really important, and it'll be what keeps freelancers relevant and needed today. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process on it.
And that's kind of what led to the evolution of your programs, right? From sales page prep school,
It's
sales
a mouthful,
page
I
prep
know.
school to lead the launch.
Yeah, it totally is actually like, um, yeah, just how that evolution happened. I was like, I've been writing sales pages and teaching other people to write sales pages, and um, I would write like a fantastic sales page, but then it might not do that well because they didn't have the other pieces. They didn't have the marketing plan. They didn't have the right emails going out to lead to it. And I'm like, I know that I can help people more with their launches. So that's what really got me more into like the launch space rather than just a single deliverable. But then, yeah, also thinking about copywriters today, like helping them stay relevant. AI can spit out some fantastic copy. I love AI. But as a copywriter, we're obviously taking a huge brunt of it. And I think that we just need to be able to position ourselves so we're still relevant. Yeah. And that comes to being able to use our brain rather than just relying on our words, right? So, yeah, all of that
And
is really what compelled me to create Lead the Launch. to help copywriters still be copywriters and be fantastic writers, but there's just so much more to it that we need to bring to the table with AI today. So that was kind of the
Yes.
how that whole world evolved for me.
Yeah, that's a big part of kind of what we teach as well, which is that strategy is such a big piece of it.
Hmm.
And then having the ability to step back even further and see the whole marketing ecosystem is going to take you just that much more into being a valuable, people talk about kind of becoming like a CMO or something. And
Right.
honestly, though, like the more that you can sort of step towards that, the better, because there is, even with email, there are things outside of your control sometimes, even if you're, writing, delivering, getting this great strategy and stuff. I've seen the difference between when a client's running ads or not running ads, or if those ads are hitting the right warm prospects versus
Hmm.
the just hitting the wrong audience. And how much that affects, even if my emails are exactly the same.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it's just like you have to see the bigger picture or else you are going to become irrelevant a little bit. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think it like AI brings a race to the bottom with just like the single deliverables, and we need to be able to be agile and yeah, exactly what you're saying, being able to see the bigger picture so we can bring more to the table for whether we're service providers with one-on-one clients or we have offers and are helping our members do this. Um, yeah, definitely matters today.
Yeah. So do you have any advice for somebody who's kind of starting out and maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by that prospect that, trying to learn that strategy piece for the first time?
Yeah, I think once you just get yourself into it and do the dang thing, you're gonna learn it. Like I for years still felt like I didn't really know strategy, but when I took a step back and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I am doing like I'm doing this for my clients, I'm doing this for myself. Maybe I know more than I think. It's really just kind of jumping into it. Putting yourself out there and learning it. We like I kind of said at the top of this conversation, I'm always still learning. I'm always still a student.
Yes.
There's never like I'm there moment. It's always just trying to learn more. So yeah, I would encourage them to jump into it, learn as much as you can, put it into action, meet people to bring you along. I think that's really important right now is making these connections online with the whole. I think that's always been important. I think everything that we're saying has always been important. It's just more magnified now with AI. So find your people, make those connections, be human online, care about results. Yeah, these things are just all amplified today.
I love that. That is so amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I think people are going to get so much out of this conversation. And I would love to just wrap it up with what are you working on now and how can people find you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Always fun chatting about this stuff. Yes, so I am working on, I just ran my first live cohort of Lead to Launch. We're just wrapping up. It was such a fun summer going through it with all of our copywriters. So yeah, the goal is now to re-record it, relaunch it, and get it out to help more copywriters is the goal for sure. Um,
That's so exciting. If people
my
are interested, do you know roughly when that will be?
Oh man. Um, I'm hoping this fall to have it. I feel like things always take a little bit longer than you think that they're going to.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping by like end of September-ish, that we might be ready to rock here.
Amazing. All right. Well,
Yeah,
we will
for
be
sure.
sure to include your links in the bio or in the description space if anybody wants to go and check out Dani and her programs. Can highly recommend. She is amazing at what she does, and I've
Hmm.
heard amazing things about your programs as well. So,
Well, thanks, Adri.
thank you so much.
Vice versa for sure. Thank you for having me. So much fun.
All right. Bye.
See ya.